asked parents in a Facebook group, I asked them, what questions do you want to ask to the PUSD board member candidates?
Oh, I'm glad.
So I have a few questions from them. Some of them are multiple questions in one question, so we'll try and get through as many as we can here. I feel like one that was asked a lot that a lot of people liked. What is your position on and proposed solution for the current district practice that allows students to use opposite sex bathrooms, locker rooms, or showers when requested after the student declines the option to use single person bathrooms already available on each campus? So a lot of times they do accommodations, right? If students don't want to use the bathrooms or locker rooms, then they can go use the nurse, or they can go, come up with accommodations. So this parent is asking if the student has declined to use those accommodations and want to use the opposite sex bathroom, what is your proposed what is your position and your proposed solution for that?
Well, big question.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can take it bit by bit. So my position on the subject matter, I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago we had a high school student that told the board, says, if you don't address this dilemma now with policy, you will never be able to move forward from it. And wow, the wisdom in that high school student, because it seems like every board meeting, every other town hall subject, this interview, right?
Yeah.
This issue keeps getting brought up. It needs to be solved, right?
Yeah.
So my position is that boys are boys and girls are girls, right? And we are a public school that has a wide cross-section of lives and experiences, right? But there's also rules that have to be followed. And so I was actually, interestingly enough, I was in a sidewalk debate with a person who is running for the House, who's a Democrat, by the way.
Okay.
And I just like to pick their brain, talk to them. It was a great conversation. And I go, if you got to the House, like, what would you do? And she was very much reluctant to say a policy, but she did say, generally, I don't think that we should have our kids have to deal with certain issues. And I think this is one of them. There's too much on their plate already. This is just too much for them to handle. And I go, I agree with you. So through policy, we need to establish that not just bathrooms, right? We have locker rooms and showers and other facilities that are gender specific. And I do think that biological boys, should be using the boys' bathroom. Right. Girls should be using the girls' bathroom. As a father of boys and girls, right, I feel very strongly about this, right? I don't want my girls in changing out for softball and having a boy come into the locker room or the shower room, right? So we have to establish, this is not necessarily the stage in which we should allow a free-for-all when it comes to things like, gender dysphoria or, whatever type of situation that we're having. We need to be able to say, I'm sorry, this is the way that it is here on campus. If you would like the accommodation, right, there is that pathway. It's the 504 accommodation, right? Right. And so you're saying, or the parent's question is, if they don't want to do the 504 accommodation, right? So there needs to be a multi-tiered step to not necessarily discipline, but we need to encourage that student, right? This is how it is on campus. Like we have the nurse's bathroom. Right. I know that there are staff restrooms. There are single-use restrooms at some of our campuses. There are plenty of options that are not unreasonable, that are not unduly burdensome, right? These are some of the tests that have to be met, and that are readily accessible. So all of these things are meeting those needs of the accommodation legally. And if they choose not to be accepting of that, obviously that leads to its logical conclusion, right? We have to maintain standards of behavior on campuses while students are at school. And the burden of an accommodation rests on the district, not on all the other students that go to that school. So.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree with you there. Thank you.
Yeah.